everybody, I want to give a round of applause to Roxy Lopez. Woo! They're going mental, Roxy. Calm down. Calm down, okay? All right, they're good. They're behaving. How are you?
Hi, Heidi. I'm good. I'm good. I'm with you. I'm with you. We're rolling here.
Very cool. I want to tell people to check out your website, which is thetruthDenied.com. And you also have a blog site, which is chemtrailskill.blogspot.com. So everybody follow along. Pay attention. So, my goodness, you are a busy woman. I thought I was busy, but you are crazy busy. You do everything. What on earth got you involved in all of this to begin with?
Well, I think at some level, growing up, in Hawaii, I was always, a different animal, if you will. I really cared about animals, and when I'd hear back in the 80s about the dolphin they were having problems with dolphin and whales in Hawaii, and I got involved, and I didn't even realize I was like a little activist out there carrying our signs, or doing rock shows on the beach and talking about sea life and to protect it and close the zoos and all that kind of stuff. So I think at some level I have always been, a real caring person towards the planet and the environment. I never consider myself an environmentalist by any stretch of the imagination. But I think it's very interesting, sometimes I think a door opens for you, and I didn't expect it. And that happened to me about 5 or 6 years ago, when a friend of mine wanted me to join this thing she called a social media network called Facebook. And I refused.
Yeah, it's a great invention.
Right. Isn't it? So, and I said, no, I don't have time. Hi, Stacy in California. It's all her fault. And so I don't know how I ended up on Facebook. She kept saying I must have accepted something. And now I was on, the very early days of Facebook. And I thought, how does this thing work? It was so bizarre. Remember the home page was so different. Like it was like you type something and then everybody was, I didn't even know how it was working or what am I doing and how am I seeing her and how she's seeing me and how are we seeing each other's like I seriously dumber than dumb on Facebook. And then I decided, the status bar, I'll say something, like if I broadcast a statement, will anybody notice? And before you knew it, I was adding what the so-called friends. First it was real friends, and there was all these people.
Right.
And I started adding people, and that's where it began, believe it or not. And because we started having massive conversations. And UFOs was my first topic. I've always been fascinated by ET, and always known in my heart of hearts, my soul, that we can't be the only, sentient life in all the galaxies, forever and ever and ever and ever. Amen. So started off with UFO conversations and kind of getting caught up on, with the latest this and the latest that and so forth and so forth. But chemtrails came into this picture very quickly, and that's actually a funny story more than a oh my god shocking story, because I noticed chemtrails, and the first chemtrails I'd ever noticed was it was hard to ignore. Very large X's and grids in the sky, but nobody seemed to be talking about them. And what ended up happening is a guy out of, oh God, what is his name? Shane Lemko, rocked the nation. He had a show out in Vegas, and he called me and said, can you come on and do a show and this and that, blah, and talk about UFOs and this and that? And that's what I did. And I don't know, it went towards, chemtrails, this word chemtrails. And it was kind of a eye-opener, the whole show, because of the people that were calling in and everything. And he kept me on the show for 4 hours. I know, right?
It's a
And
long time.
right, this is how it all starts, people. So if there's anybody listening that's thinking, oh, I'd never get involved in activism, or I'd never, oh, you just watch. It happens subtly, and if this is what you're meant to be, you will
Right.
end up doing this. So that's how I look at it. But that's how it began with the chemtrails,
Mm.
situation where I couldn't get my hands on enough to read, and before you knew it, I was in a scientific think tank amongst people who were making documentaries back then for it, and before you know it, I was off and running, creating these websites and so forth. And really, I was really just looking for the information for myself, but I ended up on coast to coast to coast. Can I say that?
Of course. That's no problem.
And listen, it was what it was is I had no website, and Ian Punnett says, what's your website? And I said, I don't have a website. So when I got off of that line, I reached out to the public, and get this. Here's another really cool thing that happened. I said, this is going to be a volunteer organization. I am not going to, front it and all the rest of it. This is going to be a volunteer organization. I need a webmaster. I needed this. Well, within 6 months, we had a volunteer webmaster who is still
Wow.
my webmaster today. We had an interim webmaster in the very beginning who got the thing started. But in all honesty, these guys taught me how to write script. They taught me how to open YouTube channels and monetize them and do this and do that. And before you knew it, within a matter of a year, Truth and I was up and running. And then, of course, I was being asked to do, host radio shows, etc. But that's my story, and it never ends. I got to tell you, it never ends. I never know what's going to happen next. I honestly, and Heidi, I know you can relate to this.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know what Monday means, as well as I don't know what Sunday means. And I guess today's Friday because it says on my calendar it's Friday, and it says I have a radio interview with Heidi Hollis, the amazing Heidi Hollis.
Nah.
Yeah. So you see what I'm saying? So it's
Yes.
become this full time, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, except for leap year. But for most years, 365 days a year, and before you knew it, the years have been stacking up, and all that's kept me going in this is the amount of people that volunteer and continue to volunteer. We got writers, investigators, it goes on and on, graphic designers, people make our posters. As you can well see, we sent you a poster. Isn't that a lovely poster?
Yes, that was really nice. I'm like,
Eh,
well, holy cannoli. I'm like, this woman's working it out.
that's courtesy of a gentleman and a good friend of mine by the name of Sean Gotro.
Hmm.
And Sean Gotro is a UFO investigator as well, and he lives out there in New Orleans, as he says. He's got a wonderful little accent, incredibly helpful to us, and he's part of the team and everything. But at the end of the day, I'm saying not only do we do it with very little funding, because we do have that donate button, and we have gotten donations, but at the end of the day, this thing, it runs on its own with all the help from everybody. And I have to say, it's I can use this term. I think people will understand what I mean by this. It's miraculous.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
got a life of its own, and believe me, I quit at least once a week.
I've learned over the years that you got to take breaks because it's such a passion-driven thing to look into these, odd topics, and you're so very fortunate that you have the team that you do to be behind you and helping out and pulling things together. But a lot of us are just solo machines, and and we're just like, oh boy, I just don't know if I could do anymore. But I'm having so much fun. I used to really, really feel like with every person that I spoke to, a piece of me went with them. And by the end of the day, I was just this little puddle on the floor. And I'm like, hold on, I got to learn how to retain my energy so I can give more. And once I learned that trick, instead of taking off, these big hunks of time, I learned to, go in spurts and laugh all the way. And it's not so much an effort that way. It's kind of cool. But I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I do.
I know you know what I mean. And you run on adrenaline sometimes, you don't have time to eat or whatever. You have one phone call after the next. There's a lot to it, but I have to say, and to all the people that listen to your show as well, I have met more people than I can ever imagine. I have joined forces, if you will, with so many people. I met some really, really good people, strong. And I have to say this, and I love my guys. I love my guys.
Yeah.
I met some incredible women,
Oh yeah.
just some incredible goddesses, that I've had the opportunity to work with. And I just can't even tell you. And I think you and I touched on that a little bit when we were chatting
Oh,
a
we
week ago
chatted
or so.
forever, didn't we?
Didn't we? We
That was fun.
chatted. We
Sure
just hit it off. We were like,
we,
boom.
we did on that thing called Facebook.
That thing called Facebook. That thing called I am in Facebook. So it was a
Yeah,
very private conversation.
it was, and we are just
Yes.
going on, and I was near passing out from sleepiness, but I was having so much fun chatting with you, I didn't want to stop.
Thank you. I felt the same way. And see, that's the other thing about this too. And anyone that's listening that is does get involved in activism. You mentioned something about a break.
Hmm.
Every time I take a break, like go home or go to Hawaii, go to Hawaii to my home there. And, it's funny because there's no break because everything I see in the world, I see through a different pair of glasses now.
Oh,
So I have to stop and I have to pull over to the organic farm and I have to talk about those GMOs across the street. And I have to ask them what they're going through and the FDA that just showed up at their farm and, talk to them about, stealing GMO seeds from the papaya patch across the street when it wasn't true and this and that. So in other words, what I'm saying is this is my life. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just said that. Yeah, it is my life. I see Christmas different. Get this. I've got to say something.
yeah.
And we will get into the nitty gritty because I know you got some questions for me and I don't want to disappoint anybody because they came here to hear about UFOs and chemtrails.
Yeah.
But I've got to tell you something. For the very first time in my entire life, I did it. I went Thursday evening to the mall. Thursday, Thanksgiving. You know what I'm talking about, man.
You did it.
The Black Friday that's
Black
on Thursday
Friday. Woo-hoo. You've joined the rest of us low lives. I'm just
I
kidding.
had to check it out. I never been. And I was like, my jaw was dropped because I went to have fun and there was Christmas music and people were, crazy and the sales were just, you have a sale on the sale on the sale. How could I not go?
Right. It is
50%.
fun.
Yeah, it was fun. And, you see a price here and then it's 70% off and then 50% off that. And the next, hour, 20% more off that.
Right.
And you're just going, what is it? So they owe me money now,
It's funny. Last year was like kind of my really first time really doing such a thing too. But see, I employed my nieces and nephews, and I'm like, and you're going to stand over here in this line, and you're going to go over there. I orchestrated this whole movement, and we swarmed the iPads, we swarmed the video games, it was worked beautifully. So I understand that thrill. I was like, this is kind of fun.
Oh yeah, man. It was cold, I was like kind of chilly before I went into this one particular store. And I'm not kidding you, man. I'm in the store and I'm sweating because it's just like, wow. And that, oh, wow. Oh, and a girlfriend of mine said, if you're really going to do that, take a list.
Oh, that's helpful.
I didn't take a list.
Oh,
so I
you
was
just
all
went
over
crazy.
Like, I was buying. I was wanting to get things for people I never met. Because it's only $3.99, and
Exactly.
it used to be $1,000. You know what I mean? I caught it. I get it. I get why they do it now. You get all kind of.
It's an illness. They need to pass out medication at the front door.
I'm an activist, and I have I'm telling you. Do can you help me with that?
Sure. We'll talk after the show. I'm just kidding.
Okay,
I want to tell you. There's somebody
kidding, I'm not.
Yeah.
but anyway, the point I was going to make real quick was in all kidding aside, there was a big part of me that said, "Wow, man, what have we become?" Seriously. You know what I mean? Wow, this is supposed to be Christmas, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm thinking, wow, they can do it to you, mind control. You know what I mean? You walk in the store, there's some music playing, there's something going. And I was thinking to myself, wow, they even got me.
See, that's why Kmart started with that blue light special. The blue light special mesmerizes you and it takes over. But I wanted to tell you, there's somebody in the chat room named Industrial Surrealism who said they put you in their book that was recently released called What is in Our Skies. How cool is that? That's nice. And they say hello.
Hi, lovely. I can't believe you're listening. Oh my God. Well, I wonder if he just tuned in because that is my dear comrade in this movement, Sean Gotro, that I had mentioned at the front of the show.
Oh,
That's our guy. And yes, he did put me in the book, and the book is a fabulous book. And I should mention it. What is in our skies? It's got I don't know how many pictures. Ask him if he can chat how many pictures are in that because I don't know how many pictures are in it. And it's a beautiful book. I'm honored to have it. We've worked together for quite some time. There were times, he even said in the book, that he thanked me for keeping him going when at times when he wanted to quit. And the book is about. He's got a really a new take on it. He's the new kid on the block, and he's got a brand new take on things, which is he started by filming lightning. That's he's a photographer.
oh, okay.
And then one thing led to another. And I have to tell you this. It was something I was going to bring up anyway later in the show, but I'll just tell you guys right now that you mentioned him.
Hmm.
He started shooting miles and miles and miles of footage, and he started turning me on to some of this stuff. And and I would look through it, and I liked him. I liked him, he was very respectful. Wasn't one of those people who's like, you don't see the 25 alien beings climbing the mountain there. No, I don't. Sorry, oh, you're a psyops. You're a shill. That's what people do to me all day long. Just because I can't see what they see. Do you
Right.
see what I see? Do you hear what I hear? No, I don't. But anyway, so he started showing me things, and I thought, and then once I got it, I understood. And a phenomenon has happened with his reporting because he's in, as I said, New Orleans, and there's another gentleman, by the way, who I just did an interview with. He is an ex-police officer, 30 years, I think. His name's Jim Kerr, and he's in Northern California. Okay, now he's never met Sean. Sean's never met Jim at this time, a couple years ago. This guy in Northern California was filming the same stuff.
Oh, wow.
And come to the same conclusions. And I'll tell you what those are in a minute. And then somehow on Facebook, this is where Facebook's amazing. Social media is amazing. Somehow they saw each other's footage or something and decided to hook up. And sure enough, here they were both talking about the same thing. And what they have discovered, and it's mind-blowing, they started to see very strong definition in these clouds of triangular craft. Now, I know you've all heard of the triangles, and we know the military's had triangles, and
Right.
there's quite a bit of proof of that. But this was not the same thing, I don't think. And they went back and forth on it. They went back and forth. This has got to be military. But now it's evolved. This whole thing has evolved, and people from a few places in the world have been reporting to Sean Gotro and to Jim Kerr, sending in their information as well. I think these two guys are doing a really big service. I'll tell you two things about them. This is an absolute fact. Neither one of them is doing it for money. That's number one. And you know this, Heidi, about anybody. When I meet people and I'm going to interview them or whatever, for whatever documentary, whatever, they'll some people will tell me straight up. They are doing what they're doing for the love of what they're doing, but they
Oh,
are also
yeah.
for money.
No.
They'll be straight up. These guys aren't doing it for money. They are doing it because they really feel a need to show people what the heck's going on in up there in the sky. And it's folded right into geoengineering, and it's getting kind of spooky if you ask me. What we're starting to see is and I mean this. It's getting spooky because now we really don't know if this is military anymore, because some of the craft, and I believe over 2 miles wide, but what's starting to happen is there are other researchers who are starting to come up with the same thing. And here's what's irony. If you guys remember the Phoenix Lights.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I mean, some of those craft are reported as being a couple miles wide and triangular in shape.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's amazing.
That was quite a while ago. Well, now these guys are catching the footage, and if you go to Industrial Surrealism, you'll see it. If you go to The Truth Denied, you can just pop in their names, on any of the articles, whatever. They both have channels and everything. You got a lot of work. They write for us, so for The Truth Denied, so that first-hand accounts. I mean, these are first-hand accounts. And that's what I love about us, is that we're not really doing too much third-party information. We have first-hand accounts of things. They're both going to be in the film, and we'll talk about that later, the film that I am involved in now. But this is amazing. And, I just spoke with Jose Escamilla, for any of you who don't know.
Love him. He's a sweetheart.
We spoke for a couple hours, and, Jose is very interested in both of their work. What does that tell you?
Oh, yeah.
And has for well over a year, because Jose was the one who really hit the mark when he two major things that Jose has done for the world. Jose Escamilla has put forth the rods.
Oh yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know rods, look it up. An incredible stuff. And then he and Bill Bryson and a couple other people, the color. They're the ones that came out and showed the public that the moon is colored.
Oh, yes. He came on the show speaking of that and how we could look it up. Unbelievable
That's exactly
stuff.
Right. You can look it up. And I asked him the other day, I said, so color on the moon, Jose, that means it's got an atmosphere. Well, yes, it does. And then let's not forget about Mars. We're living in some pretty exciting times.
Oh, gosh, yes. I mean, it is getting more and more involved, and more things are seemingly getting allowed to be revealed, or otherwise, I mean, I think that people would implode. I think that we're all coming to a point in our research and in our interests that, we're ready to start, kicking some doors down if more of this wasn't being revealed. So it's kind of neat to see all of us kind of finding each other. That's what I feel like. I feel like we found each other, you and I even, and and others that do this stuff, and it just clicks and things just work, and we get each other. We're like, you're the passion just speaks for itself. I mean, I don't have to be convinced of where your heart is. I know where your heart is because I know where mine is, and it's kind of neat to watch. I mean, do you find that you're bumping into a lot more people like yourself who are just, yes, we're going to find these answers, and yes, we're going to do it, and we're not going to take no for an answer?
Yes, I think people are getting more empowered, and I do get a lot of questions, and I'm not an expert in any of the fields. I really just report them. And so I do follow some things. I do my own investigations, that's for sure. But as far as being the true experts in the fields, I give kudos to those who go before me who really put the time in. I'm covering a lot of ground, so I'm doing more reporting, meeting people. But to answer your question, yes, there's two types of people that I meet online that I come across these days. And this is a good thing. Two kinds of people. People have respect, who want to have a conversation, who give kudos to the work, who pass on the work, and then basically the shills and the trolls. I either have haters or lovers. I don't have anything in between anymore.
Oh.
So I love the lovers, and then I've even spoken to a few shills and converted them.
That's awesome. I love to see when people come around. They're like, those wheels start spinning in their head like, oh, hold on. This might be for real. It's like, what I really love are like people that I bump into or people that even know me. They're like, I'm looking you in your eyes and I could tell that you're not pulling my leg, Heidi. Like if it was anybody else telling me this story, I might have questions, but they're convinced because of the person that you are, your character. But I think that's really cool. But I want to get to our next break here.
You're listening to IRN, the Inception Radio Network, Chicago, Illinois.
You didn't forget what's coming up tonight, did you? Hi, Inception Radio Network listeners. This is Amanda. Never miss that interview you were looking forward to or the show on your favorite topic. Follow IRN on Twitter, I_R_N, and get reminders about the evening's live shows as well as fun and important updates throughout the week. That's I_R_N, and never miss a great show again.
Hi, this is Heidi Hollis, and I wanted to share with you guys a little bit about myself and my writings because I am a published author. I write on everything from angels to aliens, ghosts, demons, shadow people, I don't know, you name it, I do it. And I would like to invite you to go check out my main website, which is HeidiHollis.com, which shows, oh my goodness, all my books, and I think you guys will dig it. Jesus is No Joke, which is about holy encounters with Jesus, which is actually quite different than what you might expect. And then my book, The Secret War, which is based on shadow people. And I am also a cartoonist, diary blog of the Fickle Fighters. These are kids' cartoons that I do, and they are exploring absolutely everything that I write about in my regular books. So I invite you, please go check out my website, HeidiHollis.com. Check out my books. I think you'll dig it. It's something different. It's something new. And I write just as I speak. So don't say I didn't warn you.
Hi, Bob Tarmac for MJ'sHealthyWay.com. Are you into vitamins, nutrition, meal replacements, health shakes, keeping your body in good shape, your internal engine going? Boy, do I have a perfect place for you. MJ'sHealthyWay.com. They offer the best service and products, and they'll tell you anything you need to know about any product they have to offer. I get all my vitamins, meal replacements, shakes from MJ'sHealthyWay.com. That's spelled MJSHealthyway.com. There's so much more at the website. Go check it out. MJ'sHealthyway.com.
Hello, Inception Radio Network listeners. This is Amanda. Remember, you can take your Inception Radio shows on the go. Just download the Inception Radio Network app for your iPhone, iPad, or Android smartphones and access live shows, past shows, guest lineups, and much more. Just visit the iTunes Store or the Google Play Marketplace and download it today for free.
Are you a fan of Inception Radio Network? Do you reckon it's the best alternative talk radio station on the planet? Well, if you do, head to facebook.com/Inception Radio Network and like the page. Tell your friends, spread the word, and keep listening to the best.
Hello, folks. Heidi Hollis is rocking the airwaves every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern right here on IRN. But if you want to learn more about Heidi, check out her amazing website at www.HeidiHollis.com. For IRN, this is MJ.
From aliens to ghosts, demons to angels, and from shadow people to the outlandish, Heidi Hollis is the Outlander.
Welcome back, everybody. You are listening to me, Heidi Hollis, the Outlander. Remembering always, if it's weird, we're here, and we're giving you advice and insight on outlandish topics. Phone lines are open, as always, but I know you guys are just hanging out, listening to the app. 1-888-919-2355, and I have Roxy Lopez, and we're just chewing the fat about everything. My goodness, you cover a lot of cool topics, and you're about to put this all into a nice little package, a nice documentary. And you're working on more than one documentary. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Well, yes, of course I can. And but how much are you going to pay me to tell you? I mean, it's secret. Everything's secret. So, I mean,
well,
we're on the air?
Yeah,
sorry.
we'll dust a little bit. Just a little dusting.
I'm kidding. So, This is important stuff. One of the documentaries, I'm not at liberty to discuss a whole lot. I think we'll be releasing trailers in January. The director of the film is a gal named Vanessa Mirabal out of L.A. And let's see, who else do we have? Edward Cho, who is the DP on it and editor, and we've got another guy, Marcus Brackus, and he also Bradford, Marcus. Sorry, Marcus. But wonderful team. And what happened is they approached me about a little over a year ago. So we have been working on this for a while, a little over a year ago. And conceptually, I can tell you the name. It's called Ribbons in the Sky Clarity.
Nice.
And this group had an approach that was it just sucked me in, because not only were they totally genuine. They're genuine, they're open, and really open to ideas. I call them my indigo team. They're like indigos, because they just flow. And every time something looks like it's bad, that happens, and oh no, we didn't get this and that, something even better happens with this film. And then we're like, whoa, and that's the director for you. She truly believes that she really is in the groove, man. She's in the now. She's a forward now thinker. We need her in the world. I'm telling you, to make more and more films, and she's done quite a few films. But with this, they approached me on such a loving level to talk about, and all we connected on was they heard me on radio and wanted to know if I could possibly introduce them to some of the people who were in the geoengineering activism. And I said, no problem. And that led to us being online, on Skype, speaking for, conference calls for a couple hours at a time. And before you knew it, they asked if I could, appear in the film. And I said, no problem. And we kept, I kept, helping them out. To see, this is how this goes. You give and you get. And I don't give to get. It's just because I really believed that their project needed to get. I really believe in them. Well, the next thing that happened, they asked me if I'd star in the film as the investigator and basically investigate all the people I brought into the film. And I said, sure, and so that's what we're doing. And we've got quite a list. We'll be, like I said, I think we'll release, the names and other people that are going to be in the film in January. It's, you only got a couple weeks left, 2-3 weeks. And then they'll start to, market the promos. But I'll tell you what it is. It is about the unseen that most people don't see. And it is about what's happening right in front of us. And it is about UFOs. It's about UFO disclosure. It's about ETs. It's about, and we went for it.
Ooh, juicy stuff. I love it.
It is. And the weather modification aspect, and along with HARP, along with what that all means. Because, see, you guys, there's a big picture here. There's a really big picture here.
I believe it.
And including technology that's been suppressed, including the opportunity that we are in right now of a very open world. We're in a positive timeline right now, according to Alfred Lambermont Weber. We are in a positive timeline, and this is the time to manifest. This is the time. You mentioned it earlier, Holly, about, busting down the walls, and we are seeing this all over the news. We are seeing the secrets of the A elite, B the whatever, TPB, whatever. I even I don't even use the powers that be statement anymore. Because if you're going to use it, you need to qualify that. To me, the powers that be are the 7 billion people who walk this planet.
Amen, sister. I like the way that you think. I have to ask you real quick, because did you take the Orion launch as much of a joke as I did? I mean, I just have to ask, because they shut down NASA, and all of a sudden, oh look, we've leapt forward about a dozen years in our technology, and we're just testing it out. We're going to shoot this little unmanned rocket. It's like, you guys have stuff that's been in your garage for quite a long time. You're going back and forth all over the place as it is, but they're doing this little show and song, dance little thing for people to make it seem like we're really just trying a little bit now. I just laughed. I'm like, it looked like the I Dream of Jeannie capsule, first of all, what the interior. I'm like, I bet they're going to come back with a genie. I think.
I think they did.
I think that's about all they're prepared to
and
share
you know
with
what?
us.
And you know what? I think they did come back with a genie, and they're suppressing it. They're not telling us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
That's interesting that you bring that up, because I've always had, I always wondered. And by the way, the film is also going to cover secret space programs. It's also going to.
I know, that's why I wanted to bring that up with you. Yeah.
Well, it's also going to cover breakaway civilizations.
Oh, I want to see this film already. Come on now.
See what I'm saying?
Hurry it up, Roxy.
We're doing the right now. We're covering what's going right now, moving forward.
Love
this
it.
is not, I don't mean I don't mean to sound mean, but this is not a film about Roswell.
Oh, that's good. Good.
See
I think we all have it memorized by now about Roswell.
Yeah, we got Roswell down. But
Yeah.
let me tell you about this Orion. Something. Let's go back to Apollo. The Apollo missions.
Let's go.
we went to the moon, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Okay.
All right. So, I mean, which story is it? We went to the moon, or it was filmed in Hollywood?
All right.
The set was Hollywood set. NASA going to the moon, or we really went. But here's what's interesting to me. If we went to the moon, yes, why didn't we keep going back?
Thank you. I've said the same.
Okay, that's a question, right? That's an obvious question, and I don't know what anyone has for an answer.
They kept landing on somebody else's property. That's why.
Well, we either kept landing on somebody else's property, or we really did keep going back, but we just didn't tell anybody.
Yeah. They said, in fact, I heard that going to
guess we have
they gave us
permission
more
to go to
questions
Mars.
and answers. More questions and answers, this back and forth is what I heard. So why would they stop?
Why would they stop? And then you have to ask, did we... Now, listen, I'm not going to mention names, okay, because it's not a source of any news I've ever covered. This is a personal, very good friend of mine, was at my wedding, the whole 9 yards. Okay. Worked for NASA for 20 years. This person says we never went to the moon.
Oh, really?
Did not have the technology. Ouch.
Ooh. Was that an announcement at the wedding?
Right?
Everybody hits the
funny.
floor.
We did have two kahunas on the beach, on the Big Island, and we had a celestial being wedding, which means we invited all the universe and the ETs. Seriously, I'm not crazy. We really did. We left our arms wide open and invited.
Oh, President Obama stopped by? I'm just kidding. I know he's from.
I didn't invite him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't think he's evolved enough to be at a wedding like that. But that's okay.
Oh.
I'll pray for him. But you know what I'm saying? It's like seriously, that's my big question. And then I've heard, from people I really trust. I've got another really good friend of mine whose father, all right, worked side by side for President Dwight Eisenhower.
Okay.
Dwight Eisenhower had some parent communication and very well knew that we had ET right here. In other words, you don't have to go to the moon if they're here already.
Right.
Kind of thing.
When they're your president.
Yeah, when you're already working.
You're working for them.
Take me to your leader.
Oh, I'm sorry. Obama, they keep saying, is the Antichrist, and every other president.
Oh, are they saying that? Don't give him that kind of credit.
That's so mean. It's so mean.
By the way, I actually know somebody very close to me as well, whose brother, and I can't name names. I swear to God, this is absolute truth. This is how people show up in your life over and over again. Who is a senator? I'll give you this much.
Okay.
And you and I will talk about this later.
Okay.
Senator in Illinois, of all places.
Okay.
Who worked with Obama back in the day.
Okay.
Back in the day, meaning only a decade ago. Mm-hmm. And knew Obama and knows Obama. Okay. And apparently Obama's like a good guy. He's just been I don't know. Maybe he had a lobotomy. No, I'm kidding. He's a good guy, apparently. And I
really
believe me, I picked this guy's brain. He's a senator.
I think he is too. I think he's a little crushed by his heart was so big. He really wanted to work with those Republican people and he waited and he waited and then the numbers weren't on his side and then he just kind of looked like a numbskull sitting there a lot of the times. I mean, I'm an Obama person. I believe in his heart. I believe in what he aimed to do, but I think he was shocked at how tied his hands became, and he really couldn't do what he wanted and hoped to do. I think he believed it.
I don't think anybody can. I think that honestly, the government was hijacked long ago.
Oh yeah,
and it's like don't shoot the messenger kind of a thing.
Yeah, I don't think he realized it till he got there.
Well, and see, this is why I have a stance. God, we're really just keep getting. Can I come back on your show?
Oh, of course.
Okay. All right, because we're getting off. Hello, everybody. I want to talk to you all again for sure. But listen, I have to say this. I urge people not to vote. Voting hires these people. It hires your senators, your congressmen, who turn on you the minute they get elected and in office.
Well, I hate
that's just my spiel, man.
I hear you.
It's proof in the pudding over and over and over again. Our government, if we even have one anymore, isn't it just full of lobbyists? Isn't that what we have now? No.
Yes.
It's all about something else now. And really, don't vote these people in. I mean, it happens every year. November 4th was another good example. Everybody vote. State of Arizona. This new $1.3 trillion to run the government for 2015. Isn't that what they wanted? And they got it approved. We elected we got 8 people in office that the people here in Arizona voted for. 6 of them voted for the 1.3 trillion. 2 of them didn't. Guess who the 2 were? People that nobody really knows. That are the good guys that are trying to get in and trying to straighten this stuff out. So it's not anyway, well, I won't go on a political rant.
No. Hey, I'm living in Illinois where I'm having to pay for these idiot governors that are sitting in prison. I mean, gosh, it's expensive.
How about we're also paying for them when they're long after they're retired?
Oh, that too, but ours are all in prison.
Yours are in prison.
Yeah, they're all, Brad Blagojevich and all of them.
How do you know? Have you gone to visit them?
This is true. They might be on a rocket ship someplace.
I'm serious, man. If I lived in Illinois, I'd go and visit them. I'd want to know that they were really behind Mars.
I want to go poke a stick in their eye and go, wake up, wake up.
Right, that too. Well, no, I mean, but like I said, I don't want to go all political, but listen, even with the UFO disclosure, the whole UFO ET, it's not just about an alien craft beings get out and we're like, wow, man. And to be honest with you, in today's world, I don't think anybody would believe it because we have Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody would believe that they really landed and got out and everything. Yet everybody, and this is what people write us over and over again because we have quite a few UFO investigators and they shoot all kinds of just crazy stuff in the sky. And it's nutty stuff. It's unexplainable. UFO meaning unidentified craft. I'm not saying a UFO is an ET. I'm saying it's just unidentified. But I have to say I've been right more than I've been wrong. I've been right more than I've been wrong. Regarding certain issues that came to fruition already, people. So you can't get me on that one. But I'm saying, really, that came to fruition, that were rumored and this and that. And I've got to say, it's being the movement with UFOs and altering the weather and all the rest of it. It's all conjoining. It's all coming together as one. It's coming to a point where everybody is starting to wake up and realize that all the threads connect to one. All roads lead home. They also all lead to Rome, don't they?
And they do. I want to quote you on something that you sent over here to me, and what you publicly state that awareness is half the battle. The other half is taking action. There is nothing more important than creating awareness so that we can make the changes that are abundantly clear to me as an investigator, yet completely invisible to most. Awareness is the key for creating the freedom that we are all seeking by unifying the collective genius resulting in new ideas as a society. The truth can no longer be denied. Here. I just couldn't think of it to be said any better. I am all about people being in the know because that with knowledge is power. So I really applaud you for your efforts and thetruthDenied.com. I want everybody to go and check it out because it's so important what your work is all about. And what is the name of your book that the books that you have out?
Well, published. I don't have any published books.
Oh, I see.
Okay. Meaning, I have many published music and compositions and albums and things like that.
Oh, tell me. I love it.
Oh yeah. Well, I shouldn't have said it. See, when I came into this world of activism, well, I kept that on the DL.
Of course, I understand.
I really did. As a matter of fact, I just mentioned that to somebody the other day who was saying, "Why don't you tell people?" And it's like, we don't want to crisscross the feathers here. But no, no, I'm kidding. My doors are open. It's all the same to me. In music, what I said in my freedom of creating music and composing music and writing lyrics and so forth and touring and all the rest of it. Same thing though. It was my own form of activism. I was telling my truth.
Love it. Yeah, I mean, tell a story. That's for sure.
I think I have to say this too. This came up in a conversation with a good friend a couple days ago too. Creativity. I just have to say this, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. To anyone that ever hears this from eons to come. Creative beings is what we all are. Create. Get out there and create. Doesn't creating make you feel good? No matter what it is. It could be a radio show. It could be a poster. It could be putting an event together. It could be even creating a meal, cooking. People enjoy cooking. Creation has been we're getting blocked from this on all sides. We're not being encouraged to be creative beings. It's a social engineering problem. We've been socially engineered to be freaking robots, sit in your cubicle, do your thing. Don't have, here's the haircut of the month. Everybody go out and get it. You ever notice that?
Oh,
people get a haircut, and then everybody, black is the new, blonde, So, go out, dye your hair black now. Oh, no, now it's blonde. Oh, God. It's this year, boots above, 6 inches above the knee, or, it doesn't matter. You could be, 5 feet, 4'8". Just get those boots above the knee, because it's in, it's so weird, trends. But it isn't, to me, it's not trendy. What it is that everybody stand in line and do the zombie thing. Everybody just, copy everybody else. And I think what's much more important, man, and I pride myself in saying this, I really, really do. This is one sense of pride I do have, that I'm myself. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that I can be myself, be creative, get involved in these films, create websites, do this, get on your show, have, sit down and talk with you. And you're the same way. You're a creative being. And this is where it's at. Create. It is the God within. It is your greatest expression of who you are. More than vocalizing, more than anything. Create. But really, seriously. If you're a photographer, take pictures. If you're whatever you do, create. Because this is what we are. And I swear to God, creating, really, you come back to life. And then you will wake up to everything else. You can't help it.
I think that's a really, really, really good way of putting it. I like to personally create problems for Joe, who's a producer, and just to raise havoc. But just kidding.
And if I have this right, Joe probably creates solutions.
Yes, he does. He's very good at it because I'm really fast at creating problems.
There you go. But create, you know what I mean? Be the creator within that we all are. And again, I have said this before too, in activism, chemtrails, whatever it is, whatever your interest and passion, UFOs, you want to film the skies, you want to see a UFO, you want to go, deep meditations, you want to go to the Andes and become one with the mountain, whatever it is that you want to do, just go do it. Do it.
You live once. Well, hold on. Maybe
this
not.
Time around.
Yeah, this time around. Yeah. I don't understand. It's like people don't realize that they place their own walls around themselves. I mean, there is life outside of the cubicle, like you're mentioning.
There is.
You really can, and you can create it.
It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary.
The second you step out, you're like, oh.
You want to go to Mars? Get in a deep meditation. Go to a sweat lodge and do 9 rounds of a sweat lodge. You'll be on Mars when you're done. You know, and I'm being serious. I'm not even being facetious.
Oh, no, I hear you.
That. You know, we can traverse. And see, this is the good note, the best note of all. We are at a critical mass. We are evolving. I am sure of it. Today, I am sure of it. Talk to me in a couple hours, and I might not be sure of it again, depending on how.
Because you're going to go take a nap, or you're going to bed.
Right, exactly. Yeah, something like that. But you see what I'm saying? In all reality, I wouldn't do the work that I do. And yes, I am a volunteer, and no, I don't get paid. And I don't care that I don't get paid. Right. It doesn't matter. Money comes when we need it. It just really doesn't matter to me. That is the absolute fact. It just doesn't matter. It comes. Everything comes when we need it. I am blessed. We are blessed. We are all blessed. I'm going to start crying.
Aw.
I have my heart's filled with joy, and I'm tired. You know, you get all, but I mean what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, I really do. I really, you know, there's nothing that makes me, honest to God, as much of this dark stuff that I have to venture down rabbit holes, you know, in this really dark, mucky muck, 3D, awful stuff. And I do mean awful.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't do it, man. I wouldn't do it. Because some days it's almost killed me. I swear to God. And now you know, but there's people like you, and there's people that really hold us up. And I got to tell you, when I need people, they're there. When I need people on Facebook, I can just say, hey, somebody went down today, and we need a prayer group. And I mean, hundreds of people come in. What do you need? Praying right now. People are catching on to stuff like that quicker and just connecting energetically without asking for the story now. It's amazing.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. You know, I have to applaud you. I mean, you're inspiring me. I mean, I was chatting with you and just hitting it off with you. I'm like, you know, it's true. It's nice to see others in the trenches next to you, you know, digging deep too and putting it all out there and just going for it. So, I mean, I really applaud your efforts, and, you know, and there are an unknown amount of people that are benefiting from your work and your efforts too. And I'm hearing all in the chat room here, everybody's like, wow, she's amazing. She's got to come back, Heidi. I'm like, okay, I know. But we got to, you know, you opened up this can of worms, or I did. They want to know where they can hear your music, or don't you want to put that out there?
It's out there. Trust me.
Okay.
But write to me at info@thetruthDenied.com, and I'll send you something.
Oh, there we go.
info@thetruthDenied.com, and I'll be glad to send you something. And thank you for asking. I really appreciate it. I love that. You know, hey, listen, we're all in this together. You know, just because somebody's not awake to that opportunity, because that's an opportunity, right, to know that we're in this together. And again, you know, I've got a counter on the front of my website. Every time you're feeling kind of weak, I have the world birth rate counter that tells you to the second how many people we have on the planet. And that's right. Nice. Because I watch that. Because every time I see a birth, I say that's another person that's going to help us out.
That's a nice way of putting it. And with that note,
the census is right there. And by the way, let me tell you what the world it's said right now. It's 7,210, 969, 150, 51, 52, 53, 56, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's how many people are being born in the world. That's how many people we have. We have almost 7.25 billion people on the planet, and they're coming in. They're coming in to they're one more person that's
here to help us out. Well, Roxy, right. I want to give you a chance to say your website real quick, and then we got to call it the evening. Thank you.
TruthDenied.com. Heidi, it's been a pleasure. You woke me up because your energy's so awesome. I was yawning earlier, like saying, how am I going to get through the show? Thank you so much. You've been a gracious host and a lot of fun. And yes, I'd love to come back anytime with you. Anytime, Chicky Doo. Anytime.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This was a
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe, producer, for just being so awesome and helping me out tonight as well.
All right. Thank you so much. This is a blast. Roxy Lopez, she will be coming back. Remember, you can catch me here every Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. You'll be listening to me, Heidi Hollis, the Outlander on Inception Radio Network.
did, the status bar out say something, like if I broadcast a statement, will anybody notice? And before you knew it, I was adding what the so-called friends. First it was real friends, and there was all these people.
Right.
And I started adding people, and that's where it began, believe it or not. And because we started having massive conversations. And UFOs was my first topic. I've always been fascinated by ET, and always known in my heart of hearts, my soul, that we can't be the only, sentient life in all the galaxies, forever and ever and ever and ever. Amen. So started off with UFO conversations and kind of getting caught up on, with, the latest this and the latest that and so forth and so forth. But chemtrails came into this picture very quickly, and that's actually a funny story more than a oh my God shocking story, because I noticed chemtrails, and the first chemtrails I'd ever noticed was, it was hard to ignore. Very large X's and grids in the sky, but nobody seemed to be talking about them. And what ended up happening is a guy out of, oh God, what is his name? Shane Lemko rocked the detected and closed the zoos and all that kind of stuff, So I think on some level I have always been, a real caring person towards the planet and the environment. I never consider myself an environmentalist by any stretch of the imagination. But I think it's very interesting, sometimes I think a door opens for you, and I didn't expect it. And that happened to me about 5 or 6 years ago, when a friend of mine wanted me to join this thing she called a social media network called Facebook. And I refused.
Yeah, it's a great invention.
Right. Isn't it? So, and I said, no, I don't have time. Hi, Stacy in California. It's all her fault. And so I don't know how I ended up on Facebook. She kept saying I must have accepted something. And now I was on, the very early days of Facebook. And I thought, how does this thing work? It was so bizarre. Remember the home page was so different. Like it was like you type something and then everybody was, I didn't even know how it was working or what am I doing and how am I seeing her and how she's seeing me and how are we seeing each other's, like I seriously dumber than dumb on Facebook. And then I decided,
Everybody, I want to give a round of applause to Roxy Lopez. Woo! They're going mental, Roxy. Calm down, okay? All right, they're good. They're behaving. How are you?
Hi, Heidi. I'm good. I'm with you. We're rolling here.
Very cool. I want to tell people to check out your website, which is thetruthDenied.com. And you also have a blog site, which is chemtrailskill.blogspot.com. So everybody follow along. Pay attention. So, my goodness, you are a busy woman. I thought I was busy, but you are crazy busy. You do everything. What on earth got you involved in all of this to begin with?
Well, I think at some level, growing up, in Hawaii, I was always, a different animal, if you will. I really cared about animals, and when I'd hear back in the 80s about the dolphin they were having problems with dolphin and whales in Hawaii, and I got involved, and I didn't even realize I was like a little activist out there carrying our signs or doing rock shows on the beach and talking about sea life and to front it and all the rest of it. This is going to be a volunteer organization. I need a webmaster. I needed this. Well, within 6 months, we had a volunteer webmaster who is still my webmaster today. We had an interim webmaster in the very beginning who got the thing started. But in all honesty, these guys taught me how to write script. They taught me how to open YouTube channels and monetize them and do this and do that. And before you knew it, within a matter of a year, Truth and I was up and running. And then, of course, I was being asked to do, host radio shows, etc. But that's my story, and it never ends. I got to tell you, it never ends. I never know what's going to happen next. I honestly, and Heidi, I know you can relate to this.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know what Monday means, as well as I don't know what Sunday means. And I guess today's Friday because it says on my calendar it's Friday, and it says I have a radio interview with Heidi Hollis, the amazing Heidi Hollis.
Nah.
So you see what I'm saying? So
Yes.
It's become this full-time, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, except for leap year. But for most years, 365 days a year. And before you knew it, the years have been stacking up. And all that's kept me going in this is the amount of people that volunteer and continue to volunteer. We got writers, investigators, it goes on and on, graphic designers, people make our posters. As you can well see, we sent you a poster. Isn't that a lovely poster?
Yes, that was really nice. I'm like, well, holy cannoli.
Nation. He had a show out in Vegas. And he called me and said, can you come on and do a show and this and that, Bob, and talk about UFOs and this and that? And that's what I did. And I don't know, it went towards, chemtrails, this word chemtrails. And it was kind of a eye-opener, the whole show, because of the people that were calling in and everything. And he kept me on the show for 4 hours. I know, right?
It's a long time.
Right, this is how it all starts, people. So if there's anybody listening that's thinking, I'd never get involved in activism, or I'd never, you just watch. It happens subtly, and if this is what you're meant to be, you will end up doing this. So that's how I look at it. But that's how it began with the chemtrails, situation where I just couldn't get my hands on enough to read, and before you knew it, I was in a scientific think tank. Amongst people who were making documentaries back then for it, and before you know it, I was off and running, creating these websites and so forth. And I was really just looking for the information for myself, but I ended up on coast to coast. Can I say that?
Of course, that's no problem.
And listen, what it was is I had no website, and Ian Punnett says, what's your website? And I said I don't have a website. So when I got off of that line, I reached out to the public, and get this. Here's another really cool thing that happened. I said, this is going to be a volunteer organization. I am not going to